I made my dream Miss All Sunday cosplay in just 1 week, so here's how I did it. In this part, we're going to be making the jacket, so let's go. This is the third time you're going to listen to me complain about patterning, but this one sucked. It was like 40 pages, and I was so glad when it was finally over and I could just start tracing and cutting everything out, both outside and lining this time. And here's all my pieces. I kind of zigzag stitched the edges because the satin was fraying a lot, and I made them all flat. And then this is where you stop listening to me and listen to her. Okay, so the mistake that I made in that video was sewing the white part, the fashion layer, and the red part, the lining, together. What happens is if you do this for each piece, so both side panels and the back, once you put your faux fur in, you can't flip it inside out because they're already attached at both sides. What you need to do instead is sew all of the lining to each other and sew all of the white fashion layers to each other. Basically what I'm trying to explain is that this white layer and this red layer are not connected anywhere except for where the faux fur trim goes on. So what you want to do is, you see this line here in the middle, you want to sew the lining together, right sides together, and separately sew all the white pieces together, right sides together. That way they are their own separate pieces that you in turn are going to be putting together by sewing the fur trim, if that makes sense. Okay, yeah, here's me fixing my mistake so that I can finally start moving on to the trim. My machine hates faux fur, so I had to cut out the seam allowance so that I could sew it into little tubes and then stuff it in between both layers. I have it on the inside, on the right sides of both fabrics, and have to hand sew it together before I can start moving on to the sleeves. I've never made a sleeve before, but this was surprisingly the least bad part of this entire process. I stuck the sleeve through the arm slot and then sewed it in, and look at that, we have a sleeve, hooray! All that was left was to add the fur trim to the cuffs, as well as to hand sew in the last piece of fur trim up at the neck. And then that was it. If you notice, there's no details included here. That would be because for the entire cosplay, I am currently in the process of adding these details, so stay tuned for an update on that. But that is what I made in the course of 7 days. So thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you with an update.